Okay, so now we're going to take a look at deploying our wine API to Heroku. So I can find my notes. First thing we need to do is create a proc file. Create a proc file in the same directory as our manage.py, so in the root of our project app, because we use that dot at the end of creating it. And then we need to go into our proc file and, tell Heroku what library we're using to interact with it. So we're going to use, I don't know, is it G unicorn? Is it Gunicorn? I don't know. It's like that that viral, what color is the dress from years ago? I don't, there's probably a right way to pronounce it, but I don't know what it is. So we're going to specify Gunicorn, then this is just the name of our project, wine API. So then we need to go in and install Gunicorn. So pip install Gunicorn. Okay, and then most of the setup is done by a built-in library called Django Heroku that makes it pretty seamless. So we need to install that as well. And then we need to update our settings.py in our project directory with to import at the very top Django Heroku, and at the very bottom need to specify the settings for Django Heroku. That's right. Okay. And then we need to tell Heroku what requirements it needs. So we need to do a pip freeze, what requires it needs to install for our app. And then let's also add some of the files that Heroku doesn't need to git ignore so that they're not uploaded when we upload our project to Heroku. So let's tell it to ignore our .env and ignore PyCache. That's spelled right. Okay, and then to deploy Heroku, to Heroku, they have a pretty good setup guide. So I'm logged in, but once you create an account and log in, this is the landing page that you come to. So we just want to create a new app, and we will call it Wine API. We'll add SDK. It has, I think that all the app names in Heroku have to be unique because it generates the URL from the app name. So I'll just add some initials onto the end of it and create app. And then it should land you on the deploy page. If not, go to the deploy page, and we want to deploy using Heroku Git, which will basically push our project up to Heroku like we're pushing to a GitHub or pushing to a remote GitHub repository. So let's go back to iTerm and to Heroku login. Takes you back to the browser. Okay, we are logged in. And then we are already in our project directory, so we don't need to change directories. We need to init. Okay, initialize our Git. Specify what our remote GitHub or Git repository is. So for us, it's the name of the app, Wine API SPK. It automatically populates it in Heroku. You just have to cut and paste the commands. And then we need to add everything to our new remote repository. Heroku app, we'll use that as a message. And then git push Heroku master. And this takes a couple minutes to run, but it's basically just like pushing to GitHub, except it's also going to do all the remote installs of all the dependencies in your, all the libraries you need in your requirements.txt. And then once that gets done, we need to migrate because the database up on Heroku will be a new one. And then we'll create a super user, and we should have all the functionality that we had before in our local host, except it's going to be on Heroku. So first we'll do so this is just telling it to, like, on our Heroku app to run Python, and it's .py migrate. It should, yep, to run this command on the remote Heroku server. And then once it's done migrating, we'll create a super user and we can see how that works. So Heroku. Okay, so our app is deployed to Heroku, and we have a super user account that we can use to log into the admin panel. So I think to get to our app, you can use open app, but you see, so this is the root of our directory. So it's the name of our app.herokuapp.com. So if we put an admin after this, we should have. Yep, so we should be able to do everything that we did before, except it's all hosted on Heroku. So we'll just add one wine. I think wine ratings are out of 100, right? Because that's what I usually see.
I believe so.
So now that this wine's in our database, we should be able to take a look at it by navigating exactly like we would to. Yep, see, now we're on our Heroku app. We've got the one wine in the database if we want to look at that one wine. And now we have all the same functionality to delete, retrieve, update, all the same functionality that we had on our local host, except we now have our backend deployed to Heroku. So what questions do you have about Heroku and deploying to Heroku? What questions do you have about the Django REST framework?
Are we able to test a post request through Postman?
Let's give it a go. So you want to add another wine, or
Yeah.
do you want to?
Yeah.
So I think we'll need the same syntax. It's been a while since I've done this. I think the what we want to add goes in the body, right?
Correct.
So you don't need to specify an ID. I'm going to be stuck on the last.
If you hit the raw button, you should be able to add text content to the body.
Thank you.
It's raw, and then you can change that text to JSON. Right next to GraphQL.
Right there.
And we want to go to the wine API, herokuapp.com/API.
Yeah, I'll fix the local host. Thank you, Tom. So now, excuse my dog. She's just freaking out that people that come here all the time are coming here again. Protecting us from completely imagined dangers. Okay, and then our Heroku URL. And then you say you wanted to post it. Okay, how does that look? Am I missing anything?
Looks good.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, I guess. We'll send it. Did we get a
At the bottom, we might
method not allowed?
Do you need to add core settings, perhaps?
Possibly.
If you go to wine detail on Heroku app, it shows what's allowed, and post isn't on the list, but put in patch are.
Let's try a put pen. My mouse has decided that it doesn't want to work. Same thing. All right. So the solution here is to go look at the docs.
Oh, what I said pertained to the wine detail page, just the /API. It says it allows get, head, and options.
Get, yep, so get, put, patch, delete, head, and options. So let's look at the root of the API and see what. So this one is get, head. Yeah, so maybe if we specify them. Looks like you have this. Not found. Let's go take a look at our views. I think because we only specified retrieve, update, destroy for the detailed view for wines that already exist. So I think if we update this list API view to one that allows us to make put requests, we should be able to add wines and not just modify or delete existing wines. Let's go look at the Django REST framework docs to see which view we need. So create list create, I think is the one that we're going to need. So let's go ahead and then we'll need to re-push it up, add our changes and push them back up to Heroku.
While this is loading, I'm curious, if you pay for Heroku, can it support a pretty large number of users to where you really only need something as sophisticated as AWS for like huge applications or huge number of users?
Yeah, they can set up the AWS auto scaling groups to allow for large numbers of users. I think there are some larger apps hosted on Heroku.
Yeah, Heroku uses AWS. So when we create a
Yeah,
server
it's the background.
yeah. It'll just be more expensive.
Yeah. Okay, so looks like that change pushed up. So we should see a change in this wine list API view for the methods that are allowed. So it looks like now we can post, and looks like this is the detail that we need. So let's go back to Postman. Thanks whoever pointed that out, that we didn't have it set up correctly. That when I say we, that's the royal we, I mean me. But you all are there to catch. So we don't need to specify the ID because that'll be automatically, I believe that'll be automatically generated by Django. So let's see. 405 method not allowed.
It's because we still haven't deployed it.
I did deploy it. I just need to make it a post,
Oh.
not a put.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yep, 201 created. So we should see it now if we refresh. Yep, and there it is. Our second wine.
Sean, you mind scanning really quick over the change that you made to enable the post request? I just
To
missed-
the view. So what
Yeah.
I did, so we had
okay.
before list API view, I changed it to list create API view, so it'll list and allow you to create. So before, like someone pointed out, the only permissions here I think were get, head, and options. We didn't have post for the API, so we couldn't send new wines. We could interact with existing wines. So let's say we went to one because of the way the view was set up. So we had all these options for an existing wine, but we had no way to create a new wine because we just had that list API view. But now we have a list and create. So now we can view the list as well as submitting new lines.
Thank you.
There's also something called a model view set that also does that as well.
Yeah, so that's covered under view sets in the Django REST framework doc. And then you can specify manually what operations to allow. And this would allow us to consolidate our wine list and our wine detail into one view set is the benefit of this. So we don't have to basically see how there's repeated logic here. So don't repeat yourself. One of the maxims when it comes to programming. So we could combine this into one model view set, and we retain all the same functionality. What other questions do you have? I guess I'll turn it back over to you, Tom.